Good morning, my friends. I'm going to, I think, shoot a little video here on spirituality number 3, I think. I really haven't had a chance to really focus on that, but I have to say that you guys are really great, in each and every one of you individually. I'm seeing this little war going on between the Water Full of Love and Love's Cartoons, and so I think it would be apropos to have a tape on spirituality, you know, in terms of relationships. And I guess I just give you my take on it. Whether I make some of you mad or not, I don't know. You know, we all come with all these opinions and stuff. So I tell you what. And then I've got a lot of question and answers to get to, and I've only got a half hour to do this. So let's everyone that watches this, I want you to sit down and get yourself comfortable and relax and close your eyes. I want you to close your eyes and just relax your whole body. Relax your shoulders, relax your lower back, and just get yourself comfortable where you can relax. I want you to take your mind and put it over in a corner. Just put your mind over in a corner and sit it on a chair. Your ego, your thinking, your thought processes, you put it on a corner over there. Stop thinking. Get that mind over there. Your emotions, your desires, put that in another chair, over in another corner. And just put all that aside and enjoy the moment. Just get into your contemplation of the moment and relax in that moment. Now, one comes to realize that one is born alone, he lives alone, and he dies alone. Everything comes as an individual to this planet, to other planets, to other heavens. God is not a small being. God is not even a being. Anything we might say about the Supreme Being would be to limit it. And you can't limit something that's infinite. And I think the most important word in understanding the Supreme Being is omnipresence. And that is a Christian terminology, which literally means there is no place God isn't. So if you believe in those words, then you have to believe in the fact that there is nothing outside of the Supreme Being, including you and the blades of grass you walk on, the fruit you eat. So, important to understand that we're all divine, and as the lion man, I call him, talks about the fingers all attached to the hand. Good analogy. Or the shattered mirror with all the pieces being a part of the mirror, the whole mirror reflecting the same thing. And this is creation. Creation is really just a place for the Supreme Being to have fun. A place for the Supreme Being to experience something other than itself. Because that alone exists. The closer to God you get, the more aware of this fact you are. That alone truly exists. You alone exists. When it comes to relationships, all life is one. And the higher you are in your spirituality, meaning the closer to God you are, the less you desire, the less you think, the less, and we talked about what spirituality really means. The more spiritual you become, the more godly you become, the more God-absorbed. Because it isn't something you can think of. It isn't an image. I played with images years ago. I told you I went through the Jesus freak stage, and I'll use that word because literally I lived and breathed the images of Jesus. And I almost felt I became Jesus by living and breathing it. But I wasn't being who I was. I was trying to be something else. And even though it was a worthy something else, I wasn't being true to my individuality and why I'm created at this level. Why did God manifest itself as me here? Why did God manifest itself as you there? Why is God using itself in your form and going through your experiences? Because that alone exists. There's nothing outside of God. It's omnipresent. So when you bring that into relationships, it's important to understand that the highest relationship you can have is yourself, because you ultimately are the only thing that exists in your world. You can understand other individual forms and what they might think or what they might feel if you've experienced those levels. If you haven't experienced an experience that someone else has, then you can't judge that experience because you have no relationship to judge it by, and that would be using your mind to do that. You would have to look back in your repertoire of experiences and see if you had that same experience where you could identify with their thoughts and their thinkings. And then you could communicate with them and say, well, this was my experience. So you know that I love you all. And so I'm not going to take sides on this as much as I'm going to say that water full of love, I love you, bro. Need to take a chill pill. Need to do some meditation, because I know you've had a loved one that left you and you were hurt by that. I understand where your thinking is for sure, no question about it. And I think for you that's where you are. It's an important thing to think. I also understand Love's cartoon. I believe this to be a female. I think I read that somewhere. She would be able to expose, and if I'm wrong, I apologize, but it doesn't matter. But if it's a female, she'd be able to identify the other side of the coin. So I can say that spirituality breeds respect for each and every one as an individual. There's only a couple of species that truly live a lifetime on this planet as a solitary unit. I can tell you, in most of these elderly people that I deal with that's been with their mates for 50 and 60 years, the bond is great. Sometimes not love is present. My experience has always been that you're on this journey alone. If you choose to pull another soul and enjoy their journey with your journey, that's great. But ultimately you will pass alone and they will pass alone. Ultimately, the chains that bind you are your emotions. The best relationship you can have is with two people that understand their divinity, their individuality. That is the highest divine relationship that can come together. You often don't see that because this planet is for lower experiences. So you're generally polarized to the very opposite of you, which makes for always a clash. As you said, full of love, it does breed experiences. It does breed growth. At the same time, if you spend a lifetime of unhappiness, who did you really cheat? Who did you prove what to what? Do you prove to God? Well, who's God? I mean, you're talking to yourself. What did you prove by spending 50 years with someone you weren't happy with? What did you prove that to? That you could do it? It cheats you out of experiencing a lot of great things, and it cheats the other person. Because a bond of love isn't really a bond. Love is really the divine love, is giving freedom to the other person to be and act who they are, and you're free to act who you are, and you come together as a relationship. That makes for the highest relationship, the respect that you give God, and understanding you see God in your mate. That's a true God-realized person, is when you see everything as God, even your mate. Those makes for a lot better relationships. When your relationship is pulling you down, you can sit there and take it. You can sit there and take a good beating too, and get up and say, "Well, I took it." But then you might have to get your teeth fixed, and you might have to fix some things because you laid there and took it. And that's okay if that's where you are, and it's okay. I want this site to be a growth for spirituality and health, and so I'm not going to disconnect anybody for that. I mean, if someone got real rude, yeah, I'm going to disconnect you, because this is a channel I would like you to learn growth and spirituality and love. Even if you have an opinion on marriage like that, water full of love, that's your right. And the same thing with cartoons. Loves cartoons. I find that are very spiritual as well in that respect. I think there should be no disrespect between any of us. We are a good group of people that love. And opinions are opinions. Opinions are a dime a dozen. What really matters is who you are, and do you know who you really are, and are you digging on that? You have your joy. Do you have your ecstasy? Do you have your allness? Because in the end, you will pass from this planet alone. And so will your mate, or whoever you're with, or if you're not with anybody. Doesn't matter. You're going to pass alone. The problem is, too many people love you. You tug of pulling you back. There's a lot to be said with energy you can't see, understanding what that can do. There's so much beyond this world that people haven't experienced, or at least bring to the conscious self in relationship to the Supreme Being and all these levels. I suppose that always you could divide religions to spirituality, because very few religions incorporate spirituality. Religions generally use control mechanisms, fear mechanisms, and if you don't, you're going to get this, or if you're a sinner, you're a sinner if you don't do this. And these are bizarre things to me when a religion has to use anything to control its people. If anything a religion should do, or a spiritual teaching, or a master, a saint, a savior, a my guru, is to connect you to who you are. Is for you to understand and come to the awareness of your great divinity and who that is in relationship to the huge divine, to that which is, to the Supreme Being. And so I've always felt that's the most important role of that. How you choose to live your life and experiences, whether you pull someone with you and it's a bumpy road, okay, that's okay, as long as you maintain your freedom and your joy. When it starts pulling you down, it's your loss. Not theirs, it's your loss. And you have to get your power back. You have to get your joy, your freedom, your ecstasy back. And then your love will spread out all through the land. It'll love people generally you would have never loved before, because you're not trapped in their conversation. You're not trapped in their limitation. Because we limit ourselves by our belief systems. We limit ourselves by our feelings and our thoughts. And it's important that you go beyond thinking and beyond your emotions into the eternal now, where all life really is, where reality is.